Hello everyone! It's that time of year again. The air is starting to get a little crisper, the days are getting just a bit shorter, and we all start asking the same big question. What will this winter be like? Will it be mild and easy, or are we in for a season of record-breaking cold and snow? This year, the forecast for winter 2025 to 2026 is especially important. We are looking at some very interesting patterns in the atmosphere and our oceans. These patterns could bring some truly shocking weather to the United States. Knowing what to expect helps us all prepare, from our homes and families to our cities and businesses. It's about more than just knowing whether to buy a new coat. Understanding the winter forecast is key to our daily lives. Let's get started on our journey into the winter of 2026. For everyone living in the Northeast Maine, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, get ready to bundle up. This winter is shaping up to be colder and snowier than recent years. Forecast models suggest a pattern favoring more frequent blasts of Arctic air. Expect below-average temperatures as a recurring theme. Cold snaps could be intense with dangerous wind chills. This will make a good insulated coat, a warm hat, and gloves absolute necessities. When we talk snow, the outlook is very active. Now let's turn our attention to the Heartland. For our friends in the Midwest, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Ohio, Michigan, winter is a season you know well. And this year, it looks like you are in for a true test of that resilience. The forecast is calling for a bitterly cold and snowy season across much of the region. The jet stream pattern, influenced by La Niña, is expected to dip southward frequently, opening the door for frigid Arctic air to plunge directly into the Midwest. This means we are not just talking about a few cold days, we are talking about the potential for prolonged periods of extreme cold that could challenge records. Snowfall is also expected to be a major story. The storm track suggests that Alberta clippers will be common. These are fast-moving storm systems that dive down from Canada. Their frequency can lead to a very high seasonal snowfall. Further south and east, in places like Chicago, the Great Lakes will also play a huge role, with lake-effect snow machines likely to be running on all cylinders, burying cities like Buffalo and Grand Rapids. When you think of winter in the South, you might picture mild temperatures and maybe a light jacket. But this year, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, the Carolinas, the forecast holds some surprises. While not as cold as the Midwest, the pattern points to a colder than average winter across much of the southern U.S. Jet stream dips that usually bring Arctic air north will push farther south than usual. Cities like Atlanta, Dallas, Nashville. Big question, frozen precipitation, snow sleet, freezing rain are all more likely this winter. Turning our focus to the west, the story becomes more complex. The winter forecast for states like California, Nevada, Arizona is a tale of two different outcomes. For much of California and the Southwest, La Niña typically points toward a drier than average season. This is concerning news, especially for California. A dry winter could worsen drought conditions. However, it is not all dry news. The mountains tell a different story. Sierra Nevada and the Rocky Mountains could still receive significant snowfall. A few potent storms, often called atmospheric rivers, can slam into the coast. One thing we watch for is the Pineapple Express, a type of atmospheric river that originates near Hawaii. While this often brings heavy rain to the coast, it can deliver massive amounts of snow to the mountains. The exact track of these storms will be key. For the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, the La Niña pattern has a very clear and direct message. Get ready for a wet and active winter. The jet stream tends to steer a relentless parade of storms directly from the Pacific. This means we are forecasting an above-average season for rain in the lowlands and snow in the mountains. Seattle should prepare for a classic Pacific Northwest winter. Portland should prepare for a classic Pacific Northwest winter. The mountain snowpack is incredibly important for this region. The Cascades and Northern Rockies are expected to get hammered with snow. However, it also means an increased risk of avalanches in the backcountry. Beyond the rain and snow, wind will be another major factor this winter. This can lead to downed trees and power outages, especially along the coast. It replenishes the lush green landscape and secures the water resources for the year ahead. The key will be to stay prepared for the wind and potential power outages that come with these strong storms. For those who love the snow, this winter is shaping up to be one of the best in recent memory. We have mentioned La Niña a few times, so let's take a moment to really understand what it is and why it has such a huge impact on our winter. Think of the Pacific Ocean as a massive engine for our global weather. La Niña is one of its settings. It happens when the sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean become cooler than average. This might sound like a small change in a faraway place, but it has a huge ripple effect. It changes the air pressure and wind patterns above it, which in turn alters the path of the jet stream across the entire northern hemisphere. During a La Niña winter, the jet stream often becomes wavier and more amplified. It tends to bulge northward over the Pacific, then dive sharply southward over the central United States before turning northeastward toward the east coast. This year, the signals are pointing to a moderate to strong La Niña, which gives us higher confidence in this type of winter pattern unfolding. Of course, La Niña is not the only factor. There are other climate signals like the Arctic Oscillation and the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Sometimes these other factors can work against La Niña, leading to unexpected outcomes. With the kind of pattern we are expecting this winter, it is important to talk specifically about the potential for high-impact events. These are the major storms and severe cold snaps that go beyond a typical winter day and can cause significant disruption. For the eastern two-thirds of the country, from the Midwest to the Northeast, the risk of at least one major blizzard is elevated. A blizzard is not just about heavy snow. It is officially defined by strong winds of 35 miles per hour or more, which cause blowing snow that reduces visibility to less than a quarter mile for at least 3 hours. These conditions are incredibly dangerous for travel. Another significant threat, especially in that transitional zone across the South and the Ohio Valley, is ice. Ice storms can be more damaging than snowstorms. The polar vortex disruptions we talked about for the Midwest can send temperatures plummeting to 20, 30, or even 40 degrees below zero. This is not just uncomfortable, it is life-threatening. Now that we know what might be coming, let's talk about what we can do to prepare. Being ready is the best way to face winter with peace of mind. Insulate exposed water pipes in basements or crawl spaces before the first freeze. Have your furnace or heating system serviced to ensure it's running efficiently and safely. Check and replace weather stripping and caulking around windows and doors to seal drafts. Next, build a home emergency kit. Flashlights with extra batteries, battery-powered or hand-crank radio for updates, first aid kit. Stock up on non-perishable foods that don't require cooking. Have at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for several days. Blankets for everyone. Sleeping bags. Car safety. Winterize your vehicle. Check tire condition and pressure. Have an emergency kit in the car. Blankets, a small shovel, sand or cat litter for traction, jumper cables, and snacks. Finally, remember to look out for each other. Check on elderly neighbors, keep pets inside, and heed local alerts.